Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Kraus. Jimmy here today in the middle. Another special guest on the podcast for our back-to-back A24 feature. But before we begin, if you guys can please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. So with that said, Cash, what are we reviewing today?
Well, like you said, it is an A24 back-to-back double feature. We did everything all at once, so now we got to do The Northman, which just came out this week, a couple days ago, so it is fresh. And we got an actual Viking on the show.
We do have a real live Viking.
Howdy.
To,
frozen in time. We unthawed him just for this show. Yeah, and here he is.
He's already
Pulled me
killed.
out of my prison with my woolly mammoth.
He's beheaded 3 people out
since he's been here.
And
Two.
And it's become a big HR problem.
It has been. Well, one of them was a family member of mine.
It's not as big as an HR problem, more of a personal thing.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is. The show must go on, as they say in Hollywood.
Absolutely. We're all about the business here.
Biz.
We make it work.
But like you said, Northman, this is a 2022 epic historical action drama. We have been talking about this for a long time. You and I, Mason, I mean, we've been very excited because it's directed by Robert Eggers, one of my favorite current directors right now, man. He just, everything he does, he fucking kills it. And he takes time to make these films. Yes. You could tell. It's down to a T. But starring big fucking cast.
Huge cast.
Yeah. Alexander Skarsgård, he's pretty much a Viking in his own right.
In his own, yeah.
With the last name Skarsgard.
Exactly, yeah. Nicole Kidman is in it. Anya Taylor-Joy, Ethan Hawke, Bjork. We got to talk about Bjork. Bjork is great.
Oh, we will get into that.
She was great, and she played the perfect... I can only stand so much Bjork in my life, and she played the perfect amount of...
what does a Swedish dog say?
Bjork.
Classic.
And the guy... Great. Hats off to him. Let's all bow down. Let's get on one knee.
May he live for eternity.
May he outlive me and all my children. Willem Dafoe.
Always great.
Yeah. He is, him and Robert Eggers, I hope, are...
a forever thing.
They're starting that Scorsese, Robert De Niro partnership, I'm hoping, and he's just in everything. Although a little disappointed how little Dafoe's in this.
Yes. That's probably my only big complaint.
But a perfect part, though.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I love the jokey aspect of him.
Yeah, he was like the jester at some point, but also kind of an holy man in his own right, to where he makes you trip out for sure. Yeah, but that was a perfect role, man. He's so fucking weird looking and creepy, and he was perfect for that, and got a horrible ending, unfortunately.
Brutal, but you know what? Still living in
Fortunately,
spirit.
his brother, Ethan Hawke's brother, hated Willem Dafoe, so as soon as he took over... No more Willem Dafoe, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, man, I did enjoy it. I liked it a lot. I don't know if it's my favorite Robert Eggers film, but it is one of the best Viking films.
Absolutely.
In a long...
The best Viking film.
It's weird that that's always been like a genre that no one has been able to get right. Which seems so easy, but there's so many good stories out there, but...
Yeah, a lot of it is the... historical inaccuracies that they try to put into those movies, and it's the Viking horns on the helmet. And
people hate that.
It doesn't
no horns on the helmet here. You're not going to see it.
No. Only in rituals.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, and the expense. These films, to get right and accurate, are so fucking expensive to make, and this is the most expensive A24 film.
Well, and absolutely beautiful visuals, too. Throughout this whole film.
The costumes,
mesmerizing.
And that's what I've heard from historians and everything, was how accurate he got it. Was fucking, because he wrote this with like 2 historians writing it with him.
It's the best way to do it.
And then a Icelandic poet, Sion.
Yes, who works with Bjork a lot. They're like almost in a partnership or something. But he is Iceland, man. They got some weird people over there. I mean, it's like it's like time traveling. I mean, but
I'd love to go.
Yeah, so what I heard, it's amazing. But Yeah, I think this is Robert Eggers' most accessible film for just run-of-the-mill movie audience. Yes. So I think that's going to help at least it making some of that massive budget. Because it it came over budget a little bit. Originally, they were coming at 65, 70 to 80, and usually when it means upward to 80.
90 now.
Yeah, exactly. Could be up to $90 million. Yeah.
Which is, of course, and it looks like it was made for $90 million. It looks fucking fantastic, right? Yeah. And everything the action is amazing. The brutality of the fight scenes, it's not over the top. It's very grounded.
All the effects. All of the
effects are amazing.
Fantasy stuff.
Oh my God.
With it. That was great.
Yeah, exactly what I was hoping for in that aspect, where I love the scene when he's being carried into Valhalla with the Valkyrie.
Charging up the...
She's got like braces on her. It
was like diamond teeth.
No, so what it actually is during battle, Vikings would carve their teeth to make them look more intimidating.
Yeah, well, it looked amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, it really worked. But yeah, I liked it a lot. If you don't know much about it, it's the story of Hamlet, which became before Hamlet because fucking Shakespeare just ripped off everything.
Yep. Don't get me started.
Made a lot of money. Made a lot of money.
Some would say a con artist in some ways.
All great men are, and I stand by that 100%.
Especially Englishmen.
Yes, but so if you know the story of Hamlet and if you know the story of Lion King, then you know the story of the Northman. Yeah, because it follows that to a T.
Yeah,
right.
Well, minus the nightmare part where he was tormenting the entire village.
Yeah,
that part was
which
amazing.
I really enjoyed. Yeah, which is something Hamlet needed in its story for sure.
Agreed.
But the Night Blade I liked a lot.
Yes.
I don't know really where that comes from, but I liked it a lot, and not being able to unsheath it until it's night.
At nighttime.
One thing I really liked was they did not shy away from the terrible atrocities that Vikings would do.
Yep.
Separating the families, and they even added like innocent babies where they were stripping the babies from the mother's arms.
Oh yeah.
Putting them into this house after they conquered this little village. Put them into a house, and they're all joking around. They think it's funny because this is just what they do. And they throw the fire and burn them all alive.
Yeah.
And they only take the strongest of the boys to be slaves or work for them.
You don't want a vengeful village coming after you, so you gotta. You saw what happened when one vengeful Viking he kills everyone. So you got to really cut that off right at the base. Yep. Okay. But let's talk about. We'll just go through. We can talk about our favorite scenes, but. Let's talk about the scene when they're getting amped up to attack that village because it made me my favorite
the
scene.
Berserker dancing around the fire ritual.
Wolves. And they all start becoming.
It was intense, and I love the way that was shot. Just the fire, the natural light from the fire, and that was it.
Yeah, the whole cinematography it's always fantastic, and but you can tell because Robert Eggers he started out as a set designer, and you can tell, man.
Yeah,
I mean the sets look amazing
for sure.
But that jacked old Viking, get them all fucking riled up and whatnot. Super cool, man.
Yeah, I think the cool part about that scene was if you look at all of the side characters around Alexander. Not just focusing on him, they're all getting into it so hard.
Yeah.
Well, that's
there was one guy had his eyes rolled into the back of his head, and I was like, oh.
Even as Skarsgård does, he goes at some point when he's like, I love that too. The effect of that's when you know they're transforming. Now they're no longer men, and now they're
they're bears and wolves.
But yeah, man, that's you talk about that, but that's a scene where it's Robert Eggers, that's what he does is he gets that performance out of you where it's it's going to be real. Because Ethan Hawke was in an interview talking about how crazy that scene was of him, Willem Dafoe, and the young boy. He's for hours they just dance around that fire, just letting the camera roll, just screaming at the top of their lungs and not knowing when to cut or when to say action or not. They just let him go. I imagine that kid was scared shitless.
Yeah, probably. They probably had to do some counseling for the poor kid.
God.
But no, it is powerful. And how much fun would that be especially a child actor, to be able to be surrounded by a guy like Willem Dafoe, Ethan Hawke, and just shoot a scene like that for hours on end. I mean, very exhausting, of course. But that's like a dream for a child to be able to do such a crazy scene like
Yeah,
that.
probably not a dream you appreciate enough as a child, but
Right.
later on you're like, that was really cool. But I can only imagine that kid is like, I don't know how to explain this to my friends.
I have no idea. They're like, yeah, how did on set go that day? Well, I can't talk about it. But, it's pretty wild. Let's put it that way.
Pretty wild. I don't know if you guys know anything about this Willem Dafoe character.
It's an oddball.
It's a wild man.
Yeah.
I love the ever-present thing in Robert Edgar movies, the natural body sounds, all of the farts and the burping.
Yeah, that's
He does that a
definitely
lot.
something that, he's incorporating, like, that's his almost calling card at this point as a director, is that,
Just rip me a big one.
yeah, but I did love that part when it's like, prove to me that you're a man.
Yeah.
And then it's when he
And the boy
burps and
just-
then he farts.
yeah, the boy
Although
farts.
dogs can fart.
They can fart. Trust me, I have 4 of them. They're stinkier than human farts.
So I don't really know what he's proving there, but but that was a great scene, man, too, when they're dancing around that fire, too. It's and they're tripping out.
Yeah.
You don't get a trip with your dad and some random guy anymore.
No, I can't say I've ever done that with my father.
It's not cool. Yeah. But yeah, that was super cool, and all the violence was fucking awesome, and it was brutal too. Like nothing was clean. Like when he was when his brother was chopping off Ethan Hawke's head, took him a couple swipes.
It did.
Yeah.
Yes.
That happened a couple times where they
And I like that
hack
a lot
through.
because throughout history, if you read anything about it, it's never a clean cut.
No.
It's never.
No.
You're getting like the top of the head at some point, maybe too low to the back. It's kind of just a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Well,
People,
when
and people move.
That's the problem.
Yes. It's not so,
Trust me, when the
glorious.
guillotine was introduced, it was like a humanitarian thing. Like this, like I mean, it's so brutal now, but when it was
Bring it
introduced,
back.
they were like, "This is going to help a lot because we're
Yeah.
taking the human element out of it to where it's just a machine." But a little brutal now, I understand.
Well, also the scene where his half brother, after his older brother dies, and they're obviously sending him to Valhalla, and the horse. So it was customary, and I don't know a lot about Nordic history and stuff.
I didn't
but they
think he
do
was-
kill the bride, to send to and the slaves and the horse. That's something I'm vaguely familiar with.
Yeah.
But that horse scene when the small child is just hacking
I
away
didn't
at the
think he
horse's
was going to be
head.
able to do it.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to be here for a while if he's going to be able to hack.
Pretty impressive for a 12-year-old to do that, to hack a horse's head off.
Yeah, and it shows it too. It's a clean cut.
It is
I
pretty
mean,
good.
he got that whole head off. Yeah.
He did.
Well, you practice long enough, you'll
Yeah.
build up the accuracy for
Can do
it.
anything.
Let me tell you, the wife did not seem 100% committed at that point.
No.
She was chugging from that horn like it was her last day, because it is.
It is.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. Imagine that, though. Imagine that point of history. Like, how crazy is it that when your husband dies in battle or in whatever capacity?
That's
right?
kind of, yeah.
Did they also kill the slaves and the wife and the man's horse so he can go to ship to Valhalla? That's
It's
I
weird.
think that she might have been a slave, though. I don't know if she was
That
a
is
wife.
Oh,
well,
right.
because the big reveal that they do take slaves as wives too. Yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
it was, but it's kind of seen throughout history because Egyptians did the same shit where a pharaoh would die and everyone would go with them.
When they
your
kill
doctor,
hundreds
your,
of
Take him into the
slaves.
afterlife.
yeah, your mailman, everyone. Be like, I barely knew the guy.
I ran into him one time. I was the messenger. What does he need a messenger in heaven for?
I know.
Confused.
They killed everyone. But it's
Yeah.
interesting that cultures that have never ran into each other all kind of follow the same in a
It
way.
is
sense.
interesting, yeah.
If you look at all of the different like pagan beliefs, they have a lot of connecting little
similarities.
threads
Yeah,
throughout
for
all
sure.
of them.
Yeah.
Like even going into like India has a lot of connections with like European mythologies, and it's very interesting.
Very interesting. It's so weird, but super interesting. But yeah, I love the scene when they first attack that village. Was awesome.
Yeah.
That's the scene we get.
All one shot. I thought that was really cool. How it's just the entire time the camera is just following him the entire
Well,
time.
they teased that jump down in the trailer,
trailer?
but it was just as cool as
Oh, yeah.
Super. Yeah, it definitely was.
But yeah, one continuous shot. Obviously, they use some filmmaking
film
magic
tricks,
when they
yeah.
would go over a wall or something.
Yeah.
It's a cut, but it looked very fluid and very one shot.
Mm-hmm.
Walking through that village was very tense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's swords coming out of you from every corner, and what
Mm-hmm.
it's very people getting shot with bows and shit.
And this is obviously how good Robert Eggers is, but I mean, right away, even the opening scene with the volcano, right? And you hear this deep, thundering voice.
Oh, the guy doing the almost throat singing dialogue.
Yeah. Throat singing is very popular. Becoming Dune had a lot of throat singing.
Yes, it did.
I love throat singing. It sounds
It's
very
amazing.
cool. Yeah.
Vikings and Vikings and the Mongolians. Both,
yes, that's where I've heard
do
it the
that
most.
quite a bit within their music.
Mongolians really get into the throat singing, and when you
powerful.
listen to it, it sounds like it would just destroy your throat.
You feel it.
Yeah, you got to really have a
You
strong
feel it in
throat.
your chest.
But it's always cool too, especially right before battle.
Oh, for sure.
The U.S. Army should start one dedicated throat singer. But very cool, like you said, and you felt the whole thing was very realistic, almost like watching a documentary, like the best documentary of all time.
Yeah, I think my favorite scene was probably the one where he goes when he first goes to get the sword from the Draugr under, like in the barrow. There's the giant zombie in there.
That's something where this movie it's like I said, it's most accessible from a Robert Eggers point because it's like almost like an adventure story. You know, the character is moving from one point to
felt
another.
like Excalibur.
Exactly, and that's like definitely not Robert Eggers. I mean, that's not his thing at all.
The Witch, probably the most slow-paced film. One of my favorite films of all time, but just very slow the entire time. This
I
is
still need to
completely
watch
different.
that one.
Which is awesome.
It's still
I've heard really
it's
good
still
things
my
about
favorite Robert Eggers movie.
Yeah.
I just and like this.
I have a sweet spot for Lighthouse. So.
Robert, I know that's still I know.
It's hard to choose. That's when you know
Exactly.
you're a good director, right? When all your films are
But
that
The Witch
good.
is super fucking accurate too. Yeah. For that disgusting, horrible 1700s time frame. It's the
The
worst.
cinematography in that is beautiful too. Even just the wide shots of the trees, and you don't know what's out in the forest.
He's amazing.
I
It's
love it.
just a matter of time before he wins an Oscar. He's gonna
Probably
win.
should have won one already.
He should have
for
won one for The
something.
Witch. He was nominated. I think he was nominated for best screenplay, but I don't.
I think my favorite camera work I saw in this movie was when it was just a view of the river and you just see one Viking ship pass by and it's just like a wide shot. And then all of a sudden the one comes by and it starts zooming in and it just like focuses right on his face. And I thought that was really awesome.
I like when they're coming in on the river and it's just like the two fishermen, like a son and his just arrows.
Arrows. Like,
Let me tell you,
That's what they did for fun.
Little word of advice: you see a Viking longship and you're like, I've never recognized that shit before. Get off the river.
get off or jump off to the side of the boat, chill in the water for
One
a
thing
little
about
while.
Alexander Skarsgård in this is he did not need a boat most of the time. He could swim anywhere.
Yes, he can.
He's swimming upriver at one point. He's swimming in the ocean coming back.
Very in shape, Viking. Let me tell you.
Well, he is jacked. And that there's some things where I was like, how do you not realize that guy's a Viking? You know, he comes in as a slave. He's a foot and a half taller than any Englishman or any Icelander or anyone.
those-
I think that's why he was like hunching a lot in the
was-
movie, was to kind of
But he
make
couldn't
himself
hide
seem
it.
a little bit more
He
diminutive.
could not hide. He was so fucking big in this film, dude. You could just see his traps coming.
Oh my God.
Stupid, like that guy is clearly.
Well, and then, like when he shows up as a slave, they're like, "Oh, this guy,
big
oh,
pussy."
He's nothing. Yeah, let's get rid of all of them." I'm thinking, what about the giant 6'6" man who looks like he lifts every day? Why not have him as a part of
and
the
he's
group?
so clearly part of your Viking lineage. Like,
Yeah.
But
thought
at
it
the
was-
hair, you never know.
Yeah,
Yep,
I thought
that
it was
is
fun.
true.
They had Hafthor Bjornsson showed up in the whatever rugby hockey thing they were playing.
Early field hockey, I guess. Very early.
It's got a name. It starts with a K. I can't remember
I've
what
seen-
it's called, but
That scene is so good too when Hathor's about to kill that kid for
It's
jumping
called
on.
cattle or Nattle Eek.
Nattlegel or something.
Nattlegel,
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but yes, that scene with Hafthor just going super intense, and then all of a sudden he comes in and just starts
Headbutting him to
just-
oblivion.
oh
yeah.
my
Well,
gosh.
Hathor about to clear that kid's head off his shoulders,
Almost.
just for coming on to the pitch.
Hit him pretty hard. It was almost as if he wasn't aware.
All he did was slap him in the back. I'm like, well, he can't be here. I guess he's knocked out. Turns to the kid.
I thought the kid was dead. I gotta
did
be
too.
honest.
One slap to the back of Hathor door, and you're
Oh my
just your
God.
spine is
I
coming.
couldn't imagine.
It's just completely broken into your sternum. Yeah, not good.
And this was before he lost all that weight for the boxing match, so he was still like
He was very big in this.
Huge.
Yeah, he's huge in this.
Yeah, he was.
They put a weak ass wig on him though in this.
yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, we'll throw out a wig.
Yeah,
we'll make
yeah.
it work.
They had to make him look like I don't know, like
not as monstrous.
Well, like the really dark kind of hair of like a Viking, so like that black Irish kind of.
Yeah.
But he had really dark hair for some reason.
Yeah.
But,
Whereas he's a blonde.
yeah.
Which I thought was
like
kind of weird.
Yeah,
Like, 'cause I was looking for him the whole time, and I thought for a second that he was the zombie that was underground. I thought it was him because he was taller. It was taller than.
That's usually all the parts he plays are parts where he can't talk.
Can't talk.
exactly.
Yeah,
and that's
no
what I
dialogue.
thought. But then I saw that scene, and I'm like, okay, there he is. I see
Yeah,
him.
we just glazed over that scene though, but I love you were talking about. I love that scene where he has to go grab the sword,
Oh yeah,
and then it's like
the whole fight.
it was a mind
Best
battle.
Best part was when he took the head of the zombie,
Shows it in his
shoved right
ass.
up.
After
Fantastic.
beheading him, that was great.
There was a lot of those little funny moments throughout this movie, which I really appreciated.
That was that whole scene though was so cool because it's like a Viking longship that's been like
Buried underground.
buried underground, right? Yeah, and he had to go in. It was super cool. Yeah, super well done. And a big Viking that guy was.
Yes, he's a big boy.
Skarsgård is big, but
Yeah,
that guy
he's
was
6'6".
8 feet tall.
He was.
That guy was fucking.
That's why I thought it was half Thor, because I was like, oh, that's a big boy.
Yeah.
I got to talk about this, and I am kind of jumping around from beginning to very end, kind of with the big reveal. But I love that scene where the boy, obviously, as he's a child, he's escaping, and he's like climbing through the bottom of the house, and he sees his uncle pick up his mom on his shoulders, and like they shot that so well because I obviously thought like she had just been captured, she didn't want that, and then dude, Nicole Kidman's performance in this, she looked like a crazed like demon.
That lady can play psycho.
Yeah.
Bro, I was so impressed with her performance in this because she
very good.
scared me.
It's definitely where it dipped into more Roger Eggers territory of
Mm-hmm.
the seduction between her and her son and how, you weren't ever sure if she was telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, then if you kill him, I'll be your fucking queen.
He's like,
this chick will fuck anyone to be queen.
I swear to you, because the theater upstairs was actually packed for a 10:20 showing at
My theater
on
was
Friday.
packed too, yeah.
But dude, when that happened, that whole theater down below up was like,
But you knew it was coming.
you knew it was
You
coming. Yeah, for sure.
She just kept getting closer and closer. I'm like, this is gonna get
And
real
he did not
awkward.
move away. So
Yeah.
you're like, he's trapped in there at this point.
A bit of a mind fuck, I would say, though. First off, you think your mom, I will save you, mother. I will avenge you, father. Your whole life is built up to this, to you
Yeah.
saving your
And
mom.
you just have that ripped out from underneath.
Well, that
Totally ripped it out.
writing was so
Yeah.
good, and obviously,
Very good
Hamlet's
writing.
been
Yeah.
around
Right.
for a while.
Yes,
it's
it has.
pretty good, I
Yeah.
would say at this point. But that whole reveal of his dad was most likely a huge fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Was a horrible person, and he built his entire life
Around
literally,
avenging him.
around avenging this guy that he thought was amazing, was just the best
Yeah.
guy ever. And then he realized he knew very little about him, and I love that reveal. To where it's like he was going to question, like, should I even be doing this or not? But at this point, he's like,
shows the ignorance of childhood.
yeah, exactly. It was.
You have a very diluted.
Of course,
view
you think
of
your
everything.
dad. Yeah, you put him on such a high pedestal.
Well, and also, and this is a small thing that I just realized, it's actually brilliant writing as well, is when he was a child early in the film, he breaks in to say that the king's home, and she's putting on her garb, and she said, "You never enter my chambers without my okay." Well, now it all made sense because she had the slave brand.
Yeah, you just realized that.
Well, you know what? I'm not the smartest guy around, but I mean, like when I guess I was just so blown away that she was an actual slave that I didn't put two and two together when I was watching the film. But like then when it's revealed that she was a slave, like you really do see her perspective where it was like, oh, he is a piece of shit. He probably raped her multiple times before she was ever even his bride, his wife. You know?
She's probably a piece of shit though too.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that.
But that's what I loved about it because that scene too. She's like right about to hit him too. You could tell when he breaks in. But then she's like, "Oh, father's home," and she kind of puts it down like she's obviously doesn't want it because he's very proud of his son, but she didn't want to hit him while her dad is there. So it just shows the kind of manipulation of both of them. But Nicole Kidman, she's always fucking great.
Yeah. Really impressed.
But you're really confused because the uncle's taken her, and it looks like it's against her will. And then it's like, oh, she was laughing. But was she
she's
lying about
cackling.
laughing, or was she lying about crying? You don't really know, but yeah, this we can jump all around, but this film ends in an awesome way. One of my favorite scenes.
Oh my God.
Is "Meet me at the gates of then
That was-
Gates of Hell is what the title. Yeah,
with one L.
Yeah.
it's straight up Mordor.
It is.
Yeah,
At the end
it
of
is.
Mordor,
It is
yeah,
the
for sure.
Mordor for sure.
Yeah, I
What-
absolutely loved that final battle scene.
And I love the fact that his uncle allowed him to, and I don't know if he necessarily allowed him because like it was waiting for night, but when he shows up the day at the volcano, he, as much as he was upset with his mom and obviously his half brother, he paid respects to the corpses as well, and like the horse that was dead. But
the whole thing was like when Bjork comes in. We didn't talk about the Bjork scene, but she's a witch at one point. Right after he destroys that early village, he sees her and she says something along the lines of like, you could have revenge or what is it? Something for your kin, or you can be nice to your kin or whatever. Yeah. And
you choose one or the other. Choose
and he goes
for
to
your
revenge
kin or for
exactly.
revenge. But when he has the decision to love his kin, but which is his new family,
his baby,
or go for revenge, he chooses both because he has to kill him or else he'll just hunt down his family.
Down his whole life.
Yep.
And then his children wouldn't be protected. You know.
Yeah, definitely, but a great scene. You're not sure if he's going to make it out of that scene. Well, he doesn't really, but he gets a pretty severe wound on his arm. Deep
cut.
A big,
that thing's barely hanging
bicep.
on. Yeah, for sure, it's barely hanging on. So I wasn't sure if he was going to make it either, but
that battle scene's awesome though, and then simultaneously,
it was so well shot,
super. Especially the wide shot.
It reminded me of the Star Wars Mustafar. I have the high ground.
Yeah. What I really appreciated about this movie was it didn't really go too crazy with any of the choreography. Like it wasn't like super overdone. It felt very real. Like it was just guys with axes hacking at each other.
Yeah, at one point when he's attacking that first village, he like kicks a shield into some guy's face. Yeah, and it killed the guy. His jaw was but it's like, that's what I love. You know, you don't see that very often in kind of movies where it's like, it's always either got to be an arm cut off or a head cut off or some kind of big slash.
Or like a big honorable death.
This was much more grounded in the sense where people were dying in disgusting and brutal ways. Yeah. Like that one guy got his nose bit off. At first I'm like, what the hell did he do? I wasn't sure if he cut it off or what.
He cut it off with a knife.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, it was a knife that he like...
And then you see that guy throughout the entire
noseless.
I love the way that they took him out too. The way he just with the sword just slowly just put it
the
through.
nose
So
where he
fucking
finished
gross.
the job.
And we talk about like Foley artists a lot, but the sound of that thing crunching into the nose,
it's probably pretty accurate. It might actually stab something through the brain.
Yeah.
But I love all the revenge of like, you know, him being a slave, escaping, and then coming back and absolutely tormenting this entire small like farming village. And when he killed all of the eldest brothers from the uncle and the mother, when he killed all of his friends, and he like put the body parts as like a horse is what it looked like.
Yeah, he made it in the shape of a horse.
Yeah, that
like these damn Christians.
It's like no Viking could do this. Like, what have you seen the shit Vikings have done? They're horror. They're very inventive. But
drinking a little too much mead.
Yeah, all that shit. But like, no Viking could have done this. Yeah.
And I love the cleverness of him and Anya Taylor-Joy using the mushrooms and putting it to freak everyone out, so they're tripping balls during it. It was awesome.
Yeah, to me, it definitely felt like they probably even cut down on a lot of the spiritual stuff to make it to the studio. Because I did hear that they were having troubles getting a version out that was the studio agreed with and Robert Eggers, because that's what happens when films are more expensive. You know, you have more hands in the pot that are controlling it. Yeah, but I guess they came out with a pretty even middle ground where Robert. But I would love to see even a director's cut.
I was actually talking about that with my fiance. Yeah, I would love to see like a special Viking edition of it or something like that. Would be amazing.
Because I can totally see some suit going. Let's tone it back on this weird shit. Okay, let's have a little more killing and a little less of this spiritual stuff.
That's what I find. Like I read a bunch of reviews, and any of the bad ones, that's mostly what people were complaining about, was like, this was too weird, I left in the middle of the movie.
Oh, see, that's my opposite complaint is I wish, because have you ever seen any Robert Eggers film? Yeah. You know it's gonna get fucking weird.
Right, and it deals with the supernatural as well, like Black Phillip and the Witch.
And it's not gonna be, cut and precise. Like it's gonna be, it's gonna leave a lot up to you, and people in studios do not like that. No. They want you to tell the audience what they're supposed to feel. They don't want to leave it
they want Marvel
ambiguous.
Movies.
Yeah, exactly, which I hate. I fucking hate. Because all my favorite scenes were probably the weirdest fucking scenes when he spoke with Willem Dafoe, or when he met with the He Witch.
The He Witch. That's the scene I want to talk about. That's
Vetki.
powerful.
Yeah,
Vetki is
that
the
guy
word
was
for him.
fucking
Yeah.
great, man.
He was. And I love just the creepiness of having Willem Dafoe's head there. The
Yeah,
entire
I made
time.
him new. They plucked out his eyes. I gave him new eyes.
They did that before they killed him.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he died a miserable death.
Yeah,
I was really hoping that skull was going. I feel like in the director's cut, there's probably a scene
Where he
where
talks.
Willem Dafoe's head actually starts talking.
sure.
I'm
Yes.
sure that there's.
I thought they
a scene.
were
it was
gonna do
right there.
that.
Yeah, I thought his
just
lips
the
were
way that it
trembling.
was sitting there, I was like, there has to be some version where he ended up talking.
I thought the very same thing too when it was that close up and it was like the slightest of zooms to the head.
You can
and
see
I
the
was
eyes.
like,
I swear you could see the eyes move.
I know.
Yeah.
They probably will add that in the director's cut if they ever have one.
But the whole visual of that scene was fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
When he's got the snake in his hand and he throws him a snake,
And it's
it's
just
the
a rope.
rope. And he's like,
Yep.
very cool, very cool. I wanted more of it.
Yeah. I think that the accuracy of all the historical stuff, the jewelry, the way the houses were built, all of the tunics they wore, even the berserkers, they didn't really wear armor. I know that some people are like, "Oh, it's stupid to not wear armor," but
That's how they did it.
the
They thought they were
berserkers
untouchable.
didn't
Yeah.
wear armor because they
thought they were animals.
they cherished more of that spiritual animal frenzy more than armor whenever they went into battle.
When they were a lot more comfortable with dying.
Yes.
Because, that this is a great
Well, the
promise
worst
of Valhalla.
death,
You wanna die.
death for them would be not dying in battle, which makes for a very scary opponent. The guy just wants you to kill him. Just fucking kill me. And then you can't kill this guy because he's unbelievable. And not even that, but I loved how they were, even that whole battle scene is every Viking was like a foot taller than every Englishman.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that they were much bigger too and better fed and whatnot and less frail. But that was very accurate. Where those Vikings, the Berserkers, were fucking huge.
Yeah, I believe that was Russia that they were where that whole raid took place
I
because
didn't know. See, that's crazy.
I think
That's
the
awesome.
chapter was called "The Land of the Rus."
Oh,
believe.
that's
Oh, yeah,
super
Land of the
cool.
Rus, yeah.
Yeah. They got around, man, those Vikings.
Yeah,
I would
they did.
love to see a Leif Erikson movie where he travels over to America and encounters the,
Well, they're
the
trying
Native
to
Americans.
They're trying to do that
and
with
never
the
comes
new.
back.
They're trying to do that with the new Vikings TV show, but it's not good.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
That's the thing. I heard that Viking, and I didn't finish it. I got like 3 seasons in, but I heard towards the end it
gets
started
bad.
getting really sloppy.
Yeah, it gets
like
bad
where they were
after-
wearing like tennis shoes, and
as-
you could see the tread on the bottom of their shoes.
What? See,
Yeah.
I watched.
I'm like-
I watched that whole show up until the main
History
guy
Channel
dies
budget.
or whatever.
Or,
And then his son takes over with the boneless or whatever.
Ivar, yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah,
then
no,
I stopped watching after that.
It's the thing is that it went really heavily into like emotional drama, and a lot of the Vikings were not that way. Like especially the men, they were very collected, they were calm, almost stoic in a way. Especially if they were, the son of Ragnar. Like they were like expected to be like the father who was that way.
Right.
But then all these kids are just fucking yelling at each other all the time.
Yeah, I want more Viking movies. The
Yeah.
shows seem to be working a lot better for them, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of stories out there you could tell in a 2.5 hour movie. I know Mel Gibson has always wanted to make a film called Berserker that you can go and read the
Yeah.
screenplay about, but he's been trying to make it, and then stuff happened to Mel Gibson to where they got.
And then he went berserk.
yeah, you went a little too method there, Mr. Mel.
So they really canceled that out, but I don't know. That's why I want this one to do so well, because
Yeah.
I really want kind of a whole new rebirth genre of Viking movies like we used to get
I could-
Western films and stuff like that. But
Well, remember
they're just
that-
so expensive to make.
Remember
Yeah.
that age of like Kingdom of Heaven? You
Yeah,
had,
yeah. A lot of medieval
Alexander
stuff.
the Great, like all these films, like those are my
Gladiator.
favorite. Gladiator, yeah, dude, like really
Troy.
great films.
The problem is
Troy, yeah.
7 out of 10 of those films did not do well, though.
Exactly.
Gladiator is the one that really probably started it,
Yeah.
but
And that's disappointing because those are the movies that you want to see. You want more of those like visceral,
Yeah.
grounded, brutal movies, but they just don't bring in the audiences that the studios want.
Because you also have to have a long attention span. So, like Kingdom of Heaven, you watch the theatrical cut,
It's
awful.
horrible.
It's
Yeah, it's
literally
not good.
horrible.
Cut to hell, yeah.
But I got the director's cut even as a kid.
I think there's 4 versions
And-
of that movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when you watch the very
It's like the 8
long version
versions
that's
of
like
Blade
almost
Runner.
Yeah.
almost 4 hours, it's actually a really good film. It's
Yeah.
very compelling, but you have to have that time with it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing because it is essentially a world
A
building.
mini-series if I'm at
Mini
that
series
point.
would be awesome. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they do have what's it called? The Last Kingdom on Netflix. That's a Viking
The Last
show.
Kingdom's really good.
Yeah, I remember
I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard a lot of really good things about it, especially compared to the Viking TV show.
Yeah, I'm a season and a half behind on that. So I'm up to like season 3.5. But
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get on that soon.
yeah, it's a good show.
Well, what's our closing thoughts on the Northman? I liked it a lot. It's probably my 3rd favorite Robert Eggers film, though. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I liked it a ton, but it's just I like those. I like The
other ones.
Witch. I like The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
I mean, those films are fucking bizarre and weird, and just really like unlike anything you've seen before. But not to say I didn't like this a lot.
All right.
I would probably say if that director's cut ever comes out, I probably will like that version even more than this
Agreed.
theatrical version. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. This film is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it flew by.
Yeah, it did.
Like it literally flew by for me. Where I was like, I could have sat here for another 40 minutes, another hour, just being immersed in this world even more. Because it was just so well done. For me, I mean, I'll be completely honest. Right now, this is my number 1 for top 10 films of 2022, and I
sure.
kind of teased that with you, Cash, when we reviewed Everything Everywhere All at Once. But
That's my
I
favorite so
was-
far.
it was so much fun. Like this is a movie I will definitely watch again. I'll probably watch this 2 or 3 times. It's just that good. And the story's that compelling. Yet has been done many times before.
Yes.
Over the centuries.
That's another thing too. Is I would almost have rather have had an original Viking story or a Viking story that would actually take place. You know, I mean, not to say that I mean, who's not to say if he wasn't a real character or not? I guess it's legend at this point.
This is
but-
probably more palatable for the
Right.
studio though
Yeah.
to agree to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, an already established story for sure. They but I definitely recommend it. I'd recommend going to see it in the biggest theater you can see it in because the sound is amazing in this. If you see it in a nice theater.
So that's the one frustrating thing for me. I had to go at 10:20 because I had to go after work. I did not get to see this in GXL, so I will go back for a second viewing and watch this on the biggest screen possible.
Yeah.
It was the biggest digital theater that they had, but even then, nothing compares to those GXLs at our theater, at AMC. But
You're gonna have to go and see it soon, though. It's there's a lot of stuff coming out that's gonna bump this down, which is
know.
unfortunate because
Yeah,
it
I
needs
don't
to make
see, I
money.
don't see it lasting longer than a month,
yeah,
if that.
Because $23 million opening weekend. It ain't
Not that
bad. I mean, but for a A24 film, probably the best.
The best opening weekend.
Is it
for
A24?
sure. It is A24, yes, sir.
Because I didn't see their logo at the beginning of the movie.
That is actually the first time. That's a great point. That's the first time we have not seen an opening A24
Yeah.
logo.
Yeah, I know. Is it Searchlight? I think Searchlight
It
was
was
the big producer on
Perfect
that.
World.
Focus Features.
Focus Features. That's what I'm saying.
Universal
Focus
Pictures. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Okay.
Focus Features, they're in like a, I don't know, they're hurting right now. They need this to be big. So,
Yeah.
but
But yeah, I thought that the overall, the movie was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Blew me away.
Loved it.
There was only one part that I thought was a little, like the pacing at the beginning of the movie was a bit off for me. But Willem Dafoe being there made up for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But by the time that you get to him as an adult, it's just, the movie, I was on board the whole time. I was engrossed in it. All of the mythical aspects of it. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. I'd probably give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. This my favorite movie this year. I mean, we still got a lot to go, but definitely going to be hitting my top 10 for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's so refreshing. It's so nice because you and I, Cash, have been talking about this for months. You and I for weeks. And like this is one of those films that like you wanted so bad for it to live up to expectations, to live up to hype, and it did. And it just feels it's such a good feeling to go and to be like, okay, it was worth waiting all this time in anticipation for. So
We're starting 2022 out on a hot streak.
Oh, they're
we've had a
cracking
lot.
them
I know we've had a lot of good movies. So hopefully the rest. That's a good indicator what the rest of the year will be like. Hopefully. It can only be downhill from here, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of Marvel films coming up.
We do.
So we don't know who knows what those are going to be.
When is that not happening?
Yeah, that's true. That's just the world we live in now.
Yeah.
I don't know. This movie really makes me want to start working out more, though.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, I thought that too,
Yeah, I went to the
definitely.
gym.
Just go do rows and listen to Viking music for 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Just know the throat singing as you're rowing.
All right.
All right, everyone. That is our review for the Northman. If you guys like what you're seeing here, please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus, Jimmy in the center here. And until next time.
Bye.
So long.